Hello, everybody. I am so excited to interview my friend Donni in my series of Be Good to You videos. So excited to hear her story and to share with her and to laugh mother to mother and all of these things. And so Donni, thank you so much for being a part of this series that I've started, and thank you for agreeing to be interviewed.
Thank you for having me.
All right, awesome. Well, let's get into it. So I would love for you to share with me sort of your health story and how you weren't being good to yourself.
Yeah. Well, I am a nurse by trade. And in that in and of itself signifies that everybody else is my priority, because as nurses, we make sure that everybody else has gone to the bathroom, but we probably haven't in 12 hours, make sure everybody else is drinking their water and getting their meals, but we probably haven't in 12 to 18 hours. And so that was kind of normal in my world, right? Well, I became a nurse practitioner, and as a nurse practitioner, I started a weight management program for kids. Just because I knew that it was so important for us to take care of our bodies. And this is something that I had struggled with my whole life. And lo and behold, I had twins. And once again, it all became about the babies. It became about the babies. I was feeding a baby and I was feeding a baby and I was changing a baby and I was changing a baby. I had about 20 minutes before it started all over again. And in the process of all of that, I mean, first of all, I already came from a mindset where it was about everybody else. And now I had these two little babies that I was responsible for. And that just kind of was the nail in the coffin that said, it's about everybody else. And it took a little while for me to understand that if I made it about everybody else, then I wasn't going to be around to take care of everybody else. And I needed to take care of me. And I think that it's kind of interesting. I don't think I've ever shared this publicly, but mother to mother, as my graduate program for my master's was promoting breastfeeding duration in women, and my goal was I was going to breastfeed my kids till they were 10 if they would let me, right? Because it's liquid gold. And yet I never produced enough. And so therefore, when my kids were sleeping through the night, I was still setting an alarm to get up every 2 hours and I would pump. And it's interesting that the moment that I decided to take care of myself was the moment that I said, no more nursing. And, it was a, how can I say, it was a little bit of a tug of war in my heart, but I had to say, I have to take care of me. I have to take care of me because I needed to sleep. Oh my goodness. Without sleep, in 9 months after my kids were born, I gained 50 pounds. And I said, no, that's not okay. That's not what I want to teach my children. And the whole idea of being good to me really kind of got solidified when I realized that I needed to be an example for two little girls now, that I wanted them to learn to be good to themselves.
That's awesome, Donni. There is a direct correlation between that sleep. And I know mothers, we tend to, forget about the sleep because we can just nap when they're napping, but then we find ourselves doing everything else while they're napping, right? And then it's just this vicious circle, right?
And so, well, I had 30 minutes, girl.
Yeah, well, there you go. Yeah, I can't even, more power to you with the twin thing. I mean, oh my goodness, it just makes me tired thinking about it, right? So that is just a whole other super level of momhood. So awesome job there. That's great. So let me ask you this. So what habits and mental well-being practices do you do now to really work on that piece of being good to yourself?
Well, for a long time, I thought that being good to me was just indulging in whatever felt good, right? And what I've learned is that sometimes it means getting up early because the one thing I need every single day, because otherwise I'm not good to me or anybody else around me, I have to have my me time where I do my devotions, I read, and I do a little journaling. And so if I don't get that, oh, you will know it and I will know it. And it's not a fun time for anybody. And so what I noticed is that, being good to me, I used to think is just sleeping in. And yet if I slept in, the day got away from me and I didn't get my me time and nobody had a good day. And so now I realize that me being good to me means getting my butt out of bed and giving myself and the world the gift of me time. I have to have that me time. And sometimes that means also delegation. I was trying to think, how would I talk to a mom that's with little babies, like I was, and didn't have any sleep, and tell them, get yourself out of bed. I would really just, one of the things that I'm learning and being good to me is learning where my limits are and not taking everything on and saying, nope, I can't do it all. I need help. Can you do this for me? And that's hard for me to do.
Yeah, no, I get it. My kids are, while we're talking, my kids are out pulling weeds. So, so I totally get that, right?
Good job, Mama.
But I understand the importance of getting up early. I was just like you, that sleep. Oh my gosh, I love to sleep. It's awesome, right? But like yourself, I found that quiet time in the morning is so soul satisfying. Is that it's just, it gets you in the time frame for you, and you are focused on yourself. And I know as moms, that is such a hard thing to do. So totally get it, totally understand the importance of that time. So I think that's great advice. I know it's hard to hear that, right? Like, really, you want me to get out of bed and not, how does that work?
Well, and forever, that's what really feeds my soul, and that's the one thing that I need to do every day to be good to me, is give myself that time. But, for other people, it's something else, or maybe they're able to get that time in at the end of the day. It's just a matter of making sure that it gets done.
Yeah, it doesn't matter when it is, right? It doesn't matter if it's early in the morning or late at night or during the day. Just taking those few minutes to really focus on, taking care of yourself. And so I think that's a really good message to share with others, moms, dads, whoever. That's a great message to share for anybody. So with that being said, what advice would you give to others to really encourage them to be good to themselves?
I think the best thing that I've ever done is worked with a coach, because what a coach has done has kind of shown me where my blind spots are in terms of taking care of me. They kind of reflect back to me what they see that I don't see, and sometimes I'm, in working with a coach, the coach would ask, have you had your you time, Donni? and talked about, if you're running late, if you're running 5 minutes late or 15 minutes late, stop, get the thing done, because you need this for you. And so having somebody to bounce those ideas off of and have that structured accountability, I would highly encourage people to seek out somebody to be that person, to show them the blind spots and to help them, remind them to take care of themselves.
Yeah, because it's not all just the physical part. It's the mental part. It's the relationship part. It's the financial part of being good to ourselves, right? And so when we go beyond just the physical part, because that's where people go first, is, oh, well, I'm going to go work out because that's being good to me. Well, maybe that's not what you need today. Maybe you need quiet time. Maybe you need to meet up with a girlfriend that you haven't seen in a while. Maybe you need to have that accountability partner. So I think that's really sound advice, Donni. Thank you. That's awesome. That's awesome. Yeah. Do you have anything else that you would like to share, or have you, that as far as the be good to you, and the self-love and self-care and what that looks like?
Well, I mentioned to you that I'm a nurse, and I worked with cancer patients for many years. And, sometimes people say, just the whole idea of be good to you people can interpret that in so many different ways, right? And like I said, for a while, I thought that was just indulge in extra sleep or indulge in whatever you feel like that's being good to me. But what I discovered, people will often tell me, just let me eat whatever I want, just let me do whatever I want, and let me die happy. And what I witnessed, very up close and personal, is that most people don't die happy when they aren't good to themselves in terms of taking care of themselves. And that is something that just kind of keeps coming up in my mind, is that be good to you is not just do what feels good. Be good to you is take care of you, because you know what? The only things, what is that saying that there are two things that are sure in life, it's taxes and that, what is that saying that I'm talking about?
Death and taxes.
Something like that. Okay. So this is the deal. We know we're all going to go. Okay. The question is, how are we going to go? And in taking care of us, we kind of make that dash pretty spectacular. And so I love the whole idea of be good to you. Kudos to you for coming up with that.
Oh, I think I had some divine intervention on that. So Thank you, though. I'm just running with it. Thank you so much, Nani, for taking the time to be interviewed today and to share sort of your uh, introspective towards all of this. And so I'm so excited to continue on with this. But thank you for taking the time out of your schedule as a mom and as a coach and a wife and a homemaker to do this today. So thank you so much, Nani.
Absolutely.
All right. Have a beautiful day. Bye-bye.